Hi everyone, I'm Airier, and today we are going to be finishing Text Talks History, Early Aviations, Aces, Conmen, and Engineers. If it sounds like I'm really excited for this, it's because I remember the last part. Oh boy. We're at the part where he was testified to Congress, and the transcript is being, admittedly, very well read off by people who are part of the Black Pants Legion. And the only reason I'm not skipping this is because, honestly, they're doing a great job, and I really want to see how they approach this. But also because I know that if I don't, it's going to be sitting in the back of my head going, you know, you need to finish this, Airier. You know, you need to. Everything about this man is enraging, and I hate it. But it's annoying because this is really freaking fascinating. God damn you, Tex, for making this interesting. If this was boring, I could have clicked off on this already. God damn you for that. I need to share this with my dad because he would hate it just as much as I would. It'd be fun to watch him do it. More importantly, we're going to jump right in. You guys know the deal. There's a link below to the original video. Hit it up. And let's get started before I chicken out again.
Oh, yes, sir. Now, there have been a great many instances of accidents, especially training accidents to our boys in learning to fly, as well as in flying. What do you attribute these accidents to?
Well, that is
not flying his planes?
Question, and it involves quite a considerable explanation.
Don't actually say he said that. Don't know.
Yourself and the committee thoroughly appreciate these explanations. In the first place, we know that the design itself is so faulty that the machine, in sustaining itself in the air, is poised on a point, which is called the center
Now, are
of
you
effort.
describing any particular machine?
I am describing the machine which the government has had in universal use, and it is only
He's doing the factor of 7 safety thing again. He's literally saying empty words. It's like, yes, safety of planes is bad because planes are bad. Because he's literally going, well, the thing in use is literally planes, not his. His entire argument so far is planes are dangerous. Not his. Just all of them across the board. If you're playing the drinking game at home where you take a drink or just a sip or just a sniff every time I feel like I'm having a conniption, I will warn you that that is not a safe pastime at this point. I'm going to take a wild guess here. It's going to be a bit.
How do you designate that machine?
Through psychotic tree. Is that a word? No, but it is now.
The de Havilland 4, the de Havilland 9, the Curtiss JN4, the Oriole, or the Bluebird. Every one is precisely alike, except that it is painted differently. The principle is precisely the same.
Did you just make all that bullshit up on the spot?
When asked about his own capabilities, Dr. Christmas truly shines.
The nature has had a very great advance start of us in the development of flying apparatus, and we can attribute to nothing but ignorance if man attempts to go aside from bird flight in airplane designing. Because, gentlemen of the committee, it simply cannot be done. I have been through it, and it has caused me to spend a great deal of time, and has cost me a great deal of money, and I think I understand the situation.
Does your company produce a bombing plane?
It produces flying coffins, and flying is generous on my part.
We are the only company in the world that can produce any kind of plane, whether it is strutless plane or flexible wing plane or...
I am wanting to punch him more and more at every second. And the fact that they chose that little just peppy smile on him for the art, I just... Also note that his is just pinned on there and the Docker's tacked on. And it's like a 5-year-old wrote it, and this one also a 5-year-old wrote. But it's actually somewhat professional. And it just... I knew it would be bad. I knew this would be enraging. But this is actually hard to get through.
or any type of plane whatsoever. Other companies must confine themselves on account of patents, which I hold, to this parallel truss type of machine.
And does your company produce
He
a
just-
pursuit plane?
No, go back. Did he just say, I have the patent on everything but what they're doing? He specified this trustless. That is... 1, patents are bullshit. 2, It's because a small variation from your design, or as anyone else would know it, something that might not kill the pilot, would automatically not make it fall within yours because your patent is very specific to something that no one should ever use. And honestly, this is the one time the force of law absolutely stifling things is good, because anything that stifles this man is good for everybody's survival.
We have produced a plane which is easily 60 miles an hour faster than any other machine.
Straight down, yeah.
But owing to the prejudice...
You have produced such a plane?
Once.
Yes, sir.
It reached great terminal velocity.
A pursuit plane.
Yes, sir. That is what is
It
called...
caught its target, the ground.
Fighting or scout plane.
Now, the testimony here shows that there was not a pursuit plane or a fighting plane produced in this country and sent overseas during the World War. How long would it take your company to produce a pursuit plane suitable for service at the front?
I mean, if the war is already over, immediately, as long as no one ever used it. Also, the fact that, unless I'm mistaken, during this time period, it was still not a good thing to lie to Congress, and he's already lying. Granted, the problem with that is you actually have to bother to take him to task about it, and that is, frankly, really annoying, and most people won't bother because it's just a pain in the ass. Unless you've really pissed someone off to the point they want to make an example of you, which happens when people are so annoying that the extra effort to say fuck you is worth it.
We could do it in 6 weeks with the force that we have, and that force has been diminished, I might say.
Yeah, they keep quitting if they know what they're doing.
Machine was operating with 3 or 4 machines. The others came down as this storm began to develop in intensity.
3 to 4. 3 to 4. Oh god, this got even dumber. Okay, thank you, Black Pants Legion Tex, for having the art right here. And this guy getting progressively more done with this shit, and him getting progressively more stupid and animated in all the funny, stupid ways. And also his podium's getting higher while his getting lower. I just noticed that. Oh god. Everything about this pains me, and I hate every second of it, but goddamn, they're making it interesting.
And this machine, the Christmas Bullet, was the last machine which was doing...
Oh, so they're talking about 3 to 4, when there were way more than that, by multiple digits at this point already.
A few minutes before it came to the ground, the storm had pretty well developed into a very heavy gale. And, Colonel Harpin and the other officers, in looking at the plane, remarked at its extraordinary steadiness, while these other machines were being roughly handled by the wind. This is known.
Yes, I know. In fact, you could almost say it's like the air had no grasp on it at all. It was just cutting right through it. Down. I keep coming back to that because every second, man, every second.
This bullet.
Is that what the flying machine that you produced is called? Or is that only one type of the machine?
That is the only type that we have got.
What other types of flying machine does your company produce?
Flying coffins, suicide machines, anything that would imply that if you play this thing in any way, shape, or form legitimately, it's going to be bad.
Of true bird flight, as it is possible to give it.
And you call this the Christmas Bullet?
Because if you take it, it's like taking a bullet.
Have you any other designated names of machine produced at your plant?
Yes, sir. We have machines called the Streak, and the Hawk, and the Eagle.
And he definitely didn't make these up on the spot.
In production.
Have you the negatives of these pictures of machines taken in the air?
Nope.
These negatives were taken by the government, and when we
they weren't.
copies of these photographs, we were refused permission to get them.
No, they weren't.
By the government?
Does he realize he's talking to the government? If anything he said was real, they would already have it. He wouldn't need to ask. And of course, could always ask us a gotcha question like, oh, so we have this? Well, these pictures that we have over here are definitely full of bullshit. What is your answer? No, they're just bullshit flat out, which is fine for most people. They'll believe that. But when you're actually lying to the government about the government having taken it from you, it's like, no, they have those records. They're also publicly available if you go to the National Archives or just put in a digital request for most of them at this point because they're way past the point where classification would be an issue. So you can just get these if they were a thing at the time. I mean, if people save them again during the Teapot Drum corruption issues, I'd still think, but they would have some of them at least.
Dr. Christmas produced before the committee patriotic letters of intent he blindly sent to the Secretary of War, which we have.
Honorable Newton Secretary of War, Washington, D.C. My dear Secretary, it is safe to say in all your life's history, you have never received a more serious, sincere, and momentous communication than this. Just at this time, the President and yourself want strong and virile friends who will, by their devotion, protect instead.
Strong and virile? Is he asking him for a job to support him? Or is he hitting on him? It's like, yes, look how virile I am. I'm focusing on this because it's the least enraging thing so far.
Instead of obstruct. I do not believe any man can sympathize with you more than myself, because if there is in this country a man of whom more lies of unlimited number have been spread broadcast about him than myself, I would like to know that man.
Who more people have lied? Are you fucking? He's literally pulling out the everybody's lying about me defense. What kind of sociopathic idiot pulls that off and expects anyone to believe that? I don't even... Okay, yeah, I can actually feel my blood pressure pounding. I am so pissed. Everything about this man I want to piss on. Like, take actual piss. Freeze it. Throw it at him. Not the sharp end, the blunt end, so that I make sure it doesn't accidentally end everything, because I want to make sure it suffers longer. And yes, in this case, I am referring to him as an it, because I frankly don't want to give him the dignity of considering him human for how pissed I am.
They would not do anything. The only thing
Oh, hey, I know exactly how this guy feels.
in the world they want us to do with our apparatus was to have us bring it to Dayton, Ohio, and let them break it up.
And what do you mean by and break it up?
I mean precisely what I say. They were going to
Bury it
weight
with
to
the guy who
sand,
was
the whole
using it as a
structure
coffin?
away, and then tell us the machine wouldn't do, like they had done others.
They had considerable trouble at the Dayton Experimental Laboratories.
Oh, they have had nothing but trouble all the time. The condition there is absolutely chaotic.
I'm sure you've been there
Who was
plenty of
responsible
times.
for the conditions up there?
Of course, I lay the responsibility on the last man, the man who was last higher up. I think the
He has no idea,
responsibility
does
should
he?
be laid upon Secretary Baker's shoulders entirely
What
because...
was the trouble at Dayton? Do you know?
Isn't
The
Secretary
trouble
the bigger
at
one he just
Dayton,
sent
as we
that
found
hitting
it,
on
was
letter to?
There was a certain type of machine that they were going to use regardless of the blood they spilled in France or in this country.
You just said those words. Okay, yeah, he said those words in public and he was not hit by lightning. I am absolutely disappointed.
And they intended to use it regardless of any kind of advancement anywhere else, whether mechanical or physical.
And what kind of machine was it?
The parallel truss machine, which was exhibited by Thomas Moore's, Dayton Wright, and the Curtis Company.
How many different types of machines have you actually made?
Do they have to be working versions? Because if that's the case, none.
You either have got to put the screw in the front
Tractor
or behind.
type.
As regards to the monoplane,
Oddly enough, the screw behind does actually exist. There's planes that do that. I think they're funny as hell. They're not the most popular, but they do exist. His is not one.
or a biplane, there are only two types that can be made, monoplane or a biplane. I have made both of those kinds.
I had reference to difference in size as well as in design. I think they wanted to know to what stage you had progressed.
I made machines all the way from 86 feet across the wings down to 24 feet.
And how many machines have you completed, including the machine ready for operation?
Since we have been manufacturing, you mean?
Yes.
Did the pilots ever survive? That would
I
change
mean
the
your
only
total
number.
finished product.
We have only built with the capital we had 2 machines. We have in course of construction.
He admitted to that. If they don't throw him in jail for investment fraud, I would be surprised. On the other hand, considering how many people just lost money on this asshole, I won't be very surprised if anything else happens either. It could go either way.
6 more.
There was no time prior to the conclusion of the war that you had a finished machine to test with and demonstrate in actual flying, was there?
And that was definitely to the benefit of everyone flying in the war.
When you went to the War Department with the bombing machine that you referred to, that was purely a design?
Yes.
It was not any machine that you could demonstrate with?
No.
Is it not your idea that perhaps it was more difficult for you to get a hearing from the fact that so many designers and inventors were pressing their claims upon the department?
The productive capacity of my factory is not...
And he's already completely, what the fuck are you talking about, dude, level. It's literally the, are you serious, level. He's even taking the glasses down to see if maybe they're just smudged to the full bullshit going on. Also, is his hair getting thinner as this progresses?
Not at the present time very great, but we shall, in the near future, about the 1st of September, build a very large plant and have a very large production.
Yes, you might hit none still.
During the war, you could have gotten plenty of financial backing.
Oh, yes.
You have flown in your own machines, have you?
Oh, no.
Yes, sir, I have flown in my machine.
And there's another case of lying to Congress.
Specific discussion, the last development, I have not, sir.
Which ones did you fly?
The ones I developed several years ago. I gave up flying several years ago.
You have never flown in the types you have described here today?
Yeah, because he would have been not here.
And what was the offer made by Germany for your services?
Germany offered me $1,000 a day in all expenses and 3 years' salary in advance in gold.
This is after the war, when Germany doesn't have money, and that's a big problem. And he's saying $1,000 a day. Keep in mind, $1,000 a day right now sounds obscene. No, wait, this is probably right before the 20s. Nearly exactly 100 years ago. That is way more. That is closer. I wouldn't be surprised if someone tells me in the comments it's closer to saying, like, oh yeah, they would give me $1 million a day. That would actually be enough to fund a company. That's what? Maybe 28 to 31 million a month. That's probably not enough for most plane companies to take off, honestly. For an individual person, that's obscene. And for someone like this idiot, that is probably what they think they actually deserve to be compensated, because they would like to ignore all of the fact that they're full of shit because it conflicts with their imposed reality of I'm a genius. And I fully believe he believes it.
In any bank in New York City or anywhere in this country.
Gold from America, from Germany.
I did not understand the latter part of your answer.
Because there was nothing to understand.
3 years' salary in advance in gold in any bank before I left the shores of this country.
Paid from this country to Germany, who they were just trying to kill. It's not even this is the first time he said it. People have heard him say that's already. The worst part is, I'm doing this decaffeinated right now. I just had a very nice light green tea. It has caffeine, but not as much as the usual amounts I'm having. So this is probably the most chill I've been in weeks. Weeks.
$1,000 a day. That would be over $1 million?
Yes, sir. Considerably over that. I would not have ever seen this country again, I can tell you that. I never had the pleasure of collecting
And it's
that
our greatest
or
shame
doing
you
anything
didn't ever
with
come to that
$1 million.
conclusion.
Yes, sir, I submitted plans to Colonel Mitchell, I think he was. I know General Squire very well. I went to see General Johnson.
Dr. Christmas is on the record suggesting that the photographs of the bullet flying as perfectly as had been claimed had then been destroyed somehow by the government, who was actively working in collusion with other unnamed industrial powers, also working to destroy Dr. Christmas.
It's like some idiot who's incredibly rich and scamming people, claiming that, oh no, that's not me, that's a psyop. What moron would do that and actually believe it?
He then asserted on the record that the government testing facility for government-approved aircraft was out to get him, and
if they actually were, it probably would have saved at least one person's life. Because, goddamn, someone should have been out to get this man. It would have been a real good catch.
their tests were designed to destroy perfectly good airframes for no reason other than to prevent them from being approved. Dr. Christmas is actually on the record getting furious at Dayton Experimental Labs for insisting on structurally testing aircraft to destruction before they get into the sky.
Yes, but that's what you want to know, because if it can survive someone trying to fuck it up, it'll survive most of what you could do in the air, where if you fuck it up there, someone dies. If you fuck it up on the ground, nobody dies. That is... Yeah!
Guy, he saw this as unnecessary safety testing, as a concept that is. Dr. Christmas then expends enormous energy lambasting the committee, the government, and other aviation pioneers, all for not heeding his wisdom or seeing the benefits of his magnificent, boundless genius.
Tex, the video isn't over. Please don't tell me they believed him. Don't do that. Don't do that to me. God, please don't tell me they believe this idiot. God, no.
Through his committee questioning, Dr. Christmas painted himself as a man constrained by excessive systemic failures,
like gravity,
which had stalled actual
or reality,
meaningful progress,
or his own stupidity,
such as himself. If they fit under the tires, Christmas threw them under the bus and dropped names at every opportunity, from a young Billy Mitchell to the fucking secretary of the War Department. His ability to change subjects is, as well, a master course in obfuscation. In that strange time and odd place, it actually worked. By 1923, Dr. Christmas decided he'd had enough fun and folded his serious aircraft concerns after one last act, which was to bill the United States Army for $100,000 for the use of his patented wing design.
Okay, that... I like to think I'm a calm person by nature. But this is inducing thoughts of violence, mostly to my monitor right now, and I'd rather not replace it. But god damn.
Dr. William Whitney Christmas never stopped getting away with it. When his companies failed to deliver any promised product, technology, or measurable engineering achievement, Dr. Christmas would cross state lines, start fresh companies with new backers, and once again, flush with cash, he would continue his charade despite never once meaningfully contributing toward the industry he claimed so ardently to serve. Dr. Christmas was a complex man, to be certain.
Yeah, I'm sure he has multiple complexes. But at this point, I just gotta say, you can fool someone once, fine. You can go on the record and verifiably lie to the government that the government stole your stuff. To the government! And if they're not gonna call you on it, you know what? At some point, it's your fault for doing that, like for letting it happen. This is more your fault at this point. It reaches the point where the level of bullshit is just unforgivable for the person walking into it again and again and again. Does nobody vet who they give money to?
And this analysis is by no means exhaustive, but I feel strongly that above all other things, he believed so much in his own destiny, his own masquerade of greatness, that lowly concepts such as basic morality were inconsequential to his journey. Anything that furthered his goals, to include killing human beings, was acceptable grist for his mill to grind, even if the product in the end was in no way useful or even capable of fulfilling basic requirements, Dr. Christmas would risk human life just for the chance.
Historical note, excuse me. 1265 Broadway is at 62612 square foot multifamily home for 8,281 square foot lot. This home is currently off the market, last sold in 78 for 550,000. Huh. $500,000 in the 78. Who's had it since then? You know, considering the location, it's probably an investment at this point. It's probably a land bank.
At greatness, or just to keep the dream alive until new investors materialized. All of his madness may have been forgiven had he made a significant achievement, or any achievement at all. That, however,
he's a fucking con artist, and no one ever caught on.
Talent. And Dr. Christmas's best talents were in talking, not doing. And thus, Dr. William.
And here's the thing. Tex is saying his achievement is talking, but having listened to that transcript, I'm just sitting here going like, nothing you said is a thing. And people just went with it. He got off. They listened. They believed him. Well, look at it this way. This is proof that the previous generations weren't any dumber than what we got right now, because this is... There is no critical thinking involved here.
William Whitney Christmas serves as a lasting warning to the rest of us to understand the scope of Dr. Christmas's effect on his perception throughout history. Even this long after his measurable relevance has passed, please consider that no one save Bernelli really challenged the man about anything.
Oh God, he was the only one?
Because of Bernelli, we know much of this story.
He's the only one?
Detailed notes and talked with everyone caught up in this mad affair. Bernelli's admission of understanding Dr. Christmas proved prophetic, as Dr. Christmas would never stop spinning stories of his remarkable genius, regardless of any inconvenient truths. But at no point did Dr. Christmas ever lose major credibility in the public eye,
no,
aviation press, or the esteem of his peers while he was alive, regardless of what he said or did.
I like that he included while he's alive, because it does play into the fact that Tex said his skill is talking. Also, that's my Tex impression that I did accidentally because for some reason I got a bug in my throat, maybe a cold, whatever. But more importantly, I'm assuming as soon as he couldn't defend himself and people actually had to read what the fuck he said, they're like, wait, this is stupid. And everyone else just got blown away by the fact that, well, he has a lot of powerful friends and money, so maybe I'm the wrong one here. Which should be a stupid statement, but it's still accurate.
The following highlights of his post-bullet career, I feel adequately proves that Dr. Christmas never stopped being, well, Dr. William Whitney Christmas. For instance, years later, he attempted to resell what he could mostly remember of Bernelli's own wing designs, though terribly copied and...
Yeah, terribly copied. But there are planes like that out there. This isn't even the dumbest version. Hell, I'm pretty sure a few of them flew in World War II as high altitude bombers. On the top end. The bottom end...
poorly understood in principle through attempted patent abuse. Yes, he made models. No, they did not fly.
And that should have been the
friends,
first test.
Let me tell you, his genius is not constrained to aircraft, as he considered himself truly a boundless visionary, and at one point, fit to inform policymaking. He stated for the record to Congress that there should be a number of immediate changes to the aviation industry, to include a stipend for intrepid investors who made titanic contributions to the world of aviation.
And while that would be a really, honestly amazing idea, the qualification would not be anything that should involve him. So he would never actually like that and probably point out how it should be for him, and he would have got it. And Have you ever just been so pissed you just stop feeling anger? But you know the second you calm down, it's going to be like, oh, I'm pissed again. Because it just lights back up. I'm at that level right now.
Such as himself. He was very much like that. In 1935, he would offer his suggestions to the airport of tomorrow, which we have a model of here. It was an underground airport design, featuring a central spiral. Yes, he thought the airport of the future should have planes all flying toward the center of a giant hubcap, and then...
Oh, he's talking about them on the Oh! Okay, on the one hand, if this was just the taxi ramp and they would come in, it's basically the same setup for an aircraft carrier, so incredibly expensive. Honestly, the biggest contribution here is one, he's a very good model builder. That's actually really cool to look at. Stupid, but cool to look at. But down here, this combining a train setup for underground travel, like a subway system with the airport, is a really great spoke idea, and I kind of wish something like that had been taken up. Landing into it, like flying into the building, is what it sounds like he's saying, and that is so many kinds of stupid.
Landing at any angle they wanted, then taxi underground, where planes are naturally happiest.
Everything he just said about landing anywhere they want sounds like a great way to commit unalive. Like, when planes are too close on a heavily regulated strip already, where there's only a couple directions you can go, it's dangerous. When you can just land anywhere you want, that is... The logistical nightmare there wouldn't so much be a nightmare as a full-on slasher horror story.
Yes, it is in fact an underground airport in the worst possible shape, encouraging frequent head-on air traffic as a standard model of efficient operation.
Although I will give him credit, spoke to central airports in a circular pattern is kind of how a lot of terminals are kind of roughly built around. But you have a basic runway beyond it, not at it directly. Also, the going underground thing is just incredibly expensive, and while it looks cool in a model, and again, that's what he should have done. He should have been a model builder. Everything about this, it would be more enraging if they actually did it, and thank God they did. Don't tell me that. Don't. Just, if he'd actually made a prototype, if someone actually built this, don't tell me. I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
He promised this very concept of airport to arrive in the not too distant future. They printed this, and nobody said anything. He was, of course, a pioneer and allowed to do these things. After dabbling with airport renaissance, he became employed with the General Development Corporation, a Miami real estate company, which he later became the vice president of. As late as his 85th birthday, stories manifest in publication of Dr. Christmas suggesting his being in talks with government leaders over the design and construction of enormous aerial battleships. Because, I suppose, at that point, why not? He'd faked it so hard, he'd made it. In the end, Dr. Christmas lived a long and prosperous life, dying at the age of 94 in the spring of 1960. But I feel Dr. Christmas is contrasted best by the man who kept the receipts from working with him. The unsilent witness was largely the only reason we know anything about the true scope and scale of this catastrophe.
I am so pissed. I'm actually lightheaded right now. I don't think I've ever been this mad, because everything about this is enraging. The incompetence, the blatant corruption of people looking the other way, the blatant stupidity of ignoring things. Just like, well, he's pretty eccentric, but he has all this backing and money, so he must be onto something, and just not doing your fucking homework. Look up anything and you would have seen there are public records. Everything in Congress would have been public to anyone. You could have just gone there. And yes, that would have been very difficult for anyone but the people who were investing with him, because that would be the level of income where that would be possible. And he lived a long, happy conman's life where no one ever even caught on to it except for one man. Why? If this doesn't end with an anecdote of someone walking up to him and punching him in the face, I'm just going to be disappointed. I'm preparing to be disappointed, but I don't want to be, even if it means Tex has to lie to me.
Engineer Vincent Justice Bernelli, grounded in actual reality and possessing actual demonstrated talent, Bernelli spent the rest of his life trying to forget the bullet, Dr. Christmas, and the once promising job at Consolidated Aircraft. He left CAC for a job in Wisconsin, where he built the world's very first airliner, the Lawson L-4. As a successful pioneer of lifting bodies and flying wings as early as the 1920s, Bernelli was an actual innovator who patiently applied his craft, content to always find room to improve upon the skills he had developed. By the end of his life, he was theorizing space planes. Yes, Bernelli basically invented aerodyne dropships in the 1960s.
And he put Pan Am on it. Oh my God, yeah. And the best part is, I've seen various planes in this shape, and it's not exactly the same as a shuttle, but it's close enough that, yeah. Dude.
Yeah, he was that good.
Dude.
And I feel his career is a result of feeling compelled
Cargo glider?
to never again let the adventures of a moron threaten to destroy what could be a prosperous and promising benefit for all mankind. So in the end, do remember, the cost of a happy Christmas is perhaps not all it's cracked up to be.
Aviation pioneer, my ass. If someone knows where his unhallowed grave is, I know what I said, let me know. And then never look at the news to see if anything happens to it.
The following artists have made this lesson possible, and I want to just
take a second to say that all of the art here is amazing. The Black Pants Legion and Tex have great taste, and goddamn all of you for making this enjoyable, so I couldn't just say, well, it's boring, I can look away. God damn you all. You did an amazing job. I wish you hadn't, because this is absolutely horrible and I hate every second about it, and you made me love it and enjoy it at the same time, and I am very confused.
Them to showcase their own work, because you should probably hire them. They're good people, and definitely worth your support. As far as me, I try not to shill, but my people do have
shill
to eat
for
actual
Tex.
Food,
Do it.
so
Go to his
slap that
Patreon.
up there
He's
if you
awesome.
Please.
I want to see what he does next.
No, I occasionally talk Battletech as an in-universe character through a format that's probably far too long and diatribe heavy to be actually healthy. Occasionally, I also shitpost, and throughout, my team has been more dedicated to charity than any other financial cause, even our survival.
Which is why I'm telling people to go to his Patreon. Do it. I'm going to shill for him because he won't.
If you don't feel this film is exactly your cup of tea, I would appreciate your participation in the good cause if possible.
Next time around, we have to talk about chemical warfare, homemade anti-personnel mines, and the absolute joys of owning an alligator.
At any rate,
Florida?
I'll close the chapter
honestly,
on this
all of those would basically be Florida.
Smith.
Oh God, they're doing a Florida episode. Okay, so yeah, I'm just gonna go and maybe take a shower or a bath or a hammer to the head. Honestly, at this point, all three sound like a nice, relaxing alternative to contemplating the fact that this guy got away with his entire life despite literally being probably one of the dumbest motherfuckers I have listened to in years. And if you have been on the internet for more than 5 minutes, that is a level of achievement. So yeah, Tex, you did a great job. I'm looking forward to your Florida episode because the way you described all of that, that basically sounds like a normal day in Miami. And it'll probably be amazing. I'll love it. And may or may not have a lot of reactions and could be summarized as what the fuck, man. Or as other people know it, oh, Florida. That's why I'm going there because it's basically what it sounds like. So yeah. I'm just cutting this one here because I need that moment to decompress because I am very emotionally confused because Tex did a great job. I loved this. This was really fun. And I wish he had fucked it up because this man is pissing me off. So if you haven't already, there's a link below to the Black Pants Legion. Hit them up, hit up the video, go on his Patreon, support this man. He won't shill, so I'll do it. Do that. Because anything you send to this man will be put back into everything he does, and eventually someone on his team will eventually force him to at least take enough to survive. I hope. Do that. And I'll see you guys in the next one whenever he brings out the Florida episode. And if it's not Florida, I will be very surprised. Or at least Florida adjacent. Yeah. See you guys then. Adios.